Hey, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Dan Mavison. I'm the Director of Public Safety here at St. Thomas. I've been back at St. Thomas for about 18 years, and I started my career here. I left for another institution for a little while, so I have roughly 25 years of actually being a campus director of experience. We at St. Thomas take campus safety and security extremely serious, obviously. But it's not just our responsibility, it's everybody's responsibility. And so the beauty of this is, now as members of our St. Thomas community, I get to stand in front of you and say, hey, you know what? If you hear something, or you see something, or you know something that you don't think's right, I'm guessing it's not right, and I invite you now to contact me and let me know, because we will look into it for you. As I said, we take this very serious. My senior staff has well over 100 years of campus experience and law enforcement experience under its belt. My staff trains regularly. We train in first aid, CPR responding, critical incidents, active shooter. We train in just about anything you can think of. A lot of mental health, a lot of alcohol crisis type of scenarios, residence life objects and such. We are here 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. We're here during the holidays. We're here in the winter storms. We do not close. Our dispatch is always open. I'm going to stop right here real quick, and I recognize that you all have been sitting for a long time, and please feel free. If you want to get up and move around, you will not be offending me, so have at it. I have a couple of general numbers up there, an emergency number. I want to talk a little bit about those real quickly. You don't have to write them down because it's all over your literature, but they're very important numbers. The 962-5100 number is public safety's general number. We do anywhere between 20 and 27,000 requests for service annually each year. And having said that, if you do the math that there's 6,000 undergraduate students, you'll understand that your sons and daughters will be contacting us for one reason or another. And the answer is, when they're trying to figure out what that number is, if they have it programmed in their cell phone, they will remember that number 5 is public safety for the general number, and that also is the number they call for escorts or rides or any kind of transportation issues, any kind of service call issues, any kind of directions, or what do I do if, how do I handle this type of thing. That's the number that they would use. Right next to it is the 962-5555 number. Again, very important number. That is our campus emergency line. If your sons and daughters call 911 from our campus, it will go to the Ramsey County Dispatch Center, and Ramsey County will dispatch it to either police or fire, whichever unit needs to be coming back. And then as soon as they're done with that, they'll be contacting us and say, hey, we just received a call on your campus, we're responding units. If they call us first, and I will never tell them not to call 911, but if they call us first, we respond directly to the incident, and we respond somebody to meet the EMS unit that's responding to our campus. So we have a dual-pronged approach, which means that we go and get the emergency responding unit and bring them to the locations. St. Paul Police and Fire, they know our campus, but they don't know where OEC 305 is. They don't know where, the locker room is or whatever that might be. So we work very close with them. We train a lot with St. Paul Police and St. Paul Fire. We do mutual response exercises as well. Public safety is also responsible for the crimes that occur on campus. I'm going to tell you we have a safe campus. I'll stand up here and say it's a very safe campus, but we are also a microcosm of society, right? Anything that can happen in your community happens at our campus as well. In fact, we have roughly 10,000 people a day, anywhere from 6,000 to 10,000 people in a day on our campus. If you push that onto an 8-block area, there's opportunity for incidents and activity. So we keep up a document called the Clery Report, and it's the campus crime report. I invite you all to visit our St. Thomas Public Safety webpage, and that document's on there. It's a really important document. It tells you about all our policies and all our procedures and how we respond to everything. It also gives you our crime statistics for the past number of years and stuff, and that allows you to compare with other institutions and see how we're doing. It's our report card, if you will. We're obviously very proud of it, but we're also transparent. Things do occur. Things are going to happen. We prepare for that, and we want to make sure you know what it is as well. If, in fact, an emergency happens on campus, we will notify your students via our UST Alert. It's a mass notification system. Okay, parents will ask me, how do we also get on to that notification thing? There's a couple different ways. One, when your son or daughter goes on to Murphy Online for the first time, they're asked to verify their information and update their emergency response information. Please ask them to get that information accurate, because you'd be surprised how many times they miswrite their cell phone numbers and some of that. But they are able to put two numbers in there, so they can put their number and maybe one of your home number or a cell phone number if you want to do that. The better way to do it is just follow our webpage, our Twitter or our Facebook, and it's Public Safety, it's at Public Safety UST for the Twitter. And as soon as we hit that and I send it, it will automatically populate that, and you'd have the information the same time they would as well. So if we have a disaster, if you will, that's going to extend longer than a regular emergency or something that's extending throughout a couple hours or longer, the university will take its main page and it will become an information resource for you. So you go to the St. Thomas webpage, and it's going to document what's going on as far as the event or the incident or whatever it might be. It might give you a list of the announcements that were sent out via the mass notification. It's probably going to tell you where you can reach or contact your student if it's something that we're asking you to come and get them or something along that line. But it will be an information resource to you, because we recognize cell phones will probably be busy or down or some of that, depending on the size of the emergency or scope of what it would be. Yeah, before I get to transportation, I also want to talk to you a little bit about our neighborhood. We have a beautiful neighborhood, and we're very close to our neighbors. We have a history in the neighborhood of being a little rambunctious and a little loud, and a little outside the scope of what's appropriate behavior. However, we've been doing very, very well the last few years, and I'm here to ask a favor of you and have this discussion with your sons and daughters about what it's like to be living in a city atmosphere. Our houses are a lot closer together. Some of the rental houses are next to, property owned by parents and families. And so the noise travels between the houses a lot easier. Parties can be obnoxious and disrespectful in many regards. So our neighbors do have a point, and I got to share this with you so you have a scope of the understanding what it is. If on Thursday night I'm out walking and I decide I'm looking for a buddy, and I call my buddy Sam, he lives in a house, and this is your freshman sons and daughters, because they live in the resident halls, and it's evening and they're looking for something to do. So they're with a buddy, that's me, and I call or text Bob and I say, hey, what are you doing? I'm watching the football game. Great, can I come over? Sure, come on over. As I'm texting Bob, my buddy's texting a couple of his friends, and then their friends are texting somebody else's friends. All of a sudden at Bob's house, we got 15, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 people at the house, and it happens that quickly. If a party then happens on the weekend and stuff, St. Paul likes to shut those down. And St. Paul has a program called ZAP, Zero Alcohol Provider. This issue has gone all the way up to the mayor, the council members, the chiefs of police. It's a major issue, so we get a lot of attention on it. So they will send off-duty units, this ZAP team, out in the neighborhood, and they'll look for house parties. And they will come up, knock on the door, and they'll break up the house party. Everybody of age will be on the left side. Everybody not of age will be on the right side. They'll blow PBT. They'll do a portable breathalyzer test. And if you fail, you'll get a citation for underage consumption. Then they'll go to the owner or the renter responsible for that house. And that individual or individuals will get a social host ordinance violation. Now that's got some more teeth to it. That's a pretty big thing. That can take a lot of effort to get that cleared up. Probably a year's worth of no same or similar, no fines, probably some volunteer work, some whatever the judge decides will be an appropriate thing. So it's very important to know and understand that this is a very real thing. The other thing we do is public safety will contact you at 3 o'clock in the morning if your sons and daughters are unable to care for themselves. So if by chance one of your sons or daughters does partake in alcohol or some other thing, or even medically unable to care for themselves at that time, we're going to call you and say, hey, they can't be on campus, they can't care for themselves, we can't watch them, they're a risk to themselves, can you come and get them? Okay? I say this really specifically for all of you so you can plan. If you are from out of state or outstate, please recognize that maybe there's some advanced planning you could do if you get that call at 3 o'clock in the morning. Is there somebody else in the Twin City area that you know that could help you respond to it or pick up your son and daughter for the night? Or maybe you've talked to the roommates' parents or something along that line. Anyway, it gives you the opportunity to plan ahead if that would happen to you. And it's not going to happen to everybody. I'm just telling you that that's kind of what happens. I am also responsible for parking and transportation. This is interesting. You've seen our construction going on. Very exciting. We're putting up some new resident halls for their future. But with that's going to be some challenges, of course, in the growth years. This upcoming year will be a challenge. But it's not for the resident students. It's not that big of a challenge than it is any other year because freshman resident students are not eligible for our campus resident parking permits. If you're a commuter student, you're eligible. Okay, so that's a different thing. But in the meantime, we're also doing a lot of sustainability stuff at St. Thomas and nationally. And we're looking at alternative modes of transportation. And it's really getting to be the new thing and the reality of where we're going to go in the future. So it's really good for your sons and daughters to understand the mass transportation system, Metro Transit, the shuttles. We have the Metro Transit, we have 3 primary bus lines that feed our campus. So it's locked in. It gets you to the Mall of America, gets you downtown, gets you to, wherever you want to go. Once you learn the system, we're pretty much locked into it for that type of transportation. St. Thomas also runs a shuttle, and that shuttle leaves the St. Paul campus at our Arches. It's our Anderson Student Center, this building right here, and it drops off at our Minneapolis campus, and that's right across the street from Target. All right, so there's a huge Target there. It's also right down in the retail center of Minneapolis, so they can get just about anything they need right off of that format there. We used to have Nice Ride bike rentals. St. Paul's not offering them this year, but there will be some kind of option and availability for renting bikes. We do have, there's Beast, and there's some other programs on here. And that brings me to you. If you plan on bringing a bike, I ask you to very much consider this. When you have 500 bikes on any campus or any location, it's not just St. Thomas, it'd be anywhere nationally. You have that many bikes in one location, you're going to have bike theft. Okay, you're going to have professional people taking the bikes and stealing them. So I ask all of you to prepare for that or plan ahead again. And if you bring a bike, please bring a very inexpensive bike and a very expensive lock. Okay, if you spin that around, it's not a good scene. It gets to be all kinds of problems. We also obviously endorse walking. We offer bus passes for the students. You can get all that information at Parking Services. Taxi vouchers are on there because if there's an emergency, or not emergency, but your son needs to go to perhaps urgent care or pharmacy or something along that line, and I deem it's a medical issue or something, we will send them via taxi voucher on our dime. I'll send them out and bring them back, take care of it that way. And again, public safety is a service area for you. We do the lockouts, we do the rooms stuff, we do I lost my keys somewhere, all of the programming things that we can do to make your environment safe and secure and friendly for your sons and daughters. So I think that's it. I can take some questions for you today if you have any.
Can you explain to the kids thoroughly about the parties and the drinking?
Our students get that in a number of different ways. I did actually meet with our student leaders, the ones that are talking, and I did my presentation here to them as well to make sure that they're passing on the exact same information. They won't get it from here or for listening to this right now, though they'll pick it up. The first week of school, all that programming is into their resident housing stuff. I used to talk a little bit, and this is off topic a little bit, but I think it's important. If you're having these conversations, I always talk about 6 weeks of good decision making. If your sons and daughters, from the day they walk on campus, you drop them off and you're unloading the car, you've been to Target 3 times and you're heading home, And if they start making sound decisions for 6 weeks by Thanksgiving, by the time they break, they will understand college life. They will get their feet wet. They will know kind of the do's and don'ts of what they can do on Univers campus. So it's kind of have that conversation about how do I make smart choices for 6 weeks. I mean, and that's talking about their friends, because they're going to want to make friends. They're going to want to do things. That's what college life is about. How are they processing that? And are these friends good friends or are these not good friends? They'll make, like all of you did, I'm assuming that have went to college, they'll make friends for life, right? Your roommates, your close friends in college are people you hang on to for life. So who are they hanging out with? What are they doing? What kind of decisions are they making? Anything else? Wow, that's good. You all good? Okay, thanks everybody. You're supposed to break out into your next sessions. I think they're breakout sections. So thanks for all your time today. I appreciate it very much.